Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SEO, GEO, AEO, whatever acronym you pick, news for week 4. So that was last week. I gathered everything that was interesting. We've got lots of cool new tools, lots of analysis, a few other updates and news related to SEO in general. So stick around and I will go through them. As quickly as I can, and if you look in the video description, there will be links and summaries ready to copy paste and send to clients, or for further reading if you're in the business. So let's just jump right in. The first one here is quite interesting, actually. Quite interesting. So Common Crawl crawls the web, and apparently SEOs are using their crawl data to look for AI ranking signals, if we can call it that, just for, to make it simple. The big thing that stood out for me here is, so again, we can look at how closely related websites are with using links like across the web. And then of course we can look at quality in terms of page rank. So something like domain rank for href, etc. So those are two things we can look at. And it looks like here we can see Mozilla found that 64% of the 47 LLMs used at least one filtered common crawl source. So a lot of training data might come from these sources. So looking at the training data and then looking at where the training data is from and then trying to correlate things is really interesting. And here is the big one here. So what they call HC here, which if I can, maybe I can open up, basically how closely related sites are using links. The higher that score is, the more frequent the crawling for training data. So greater representation in monthly archives, which equals to higher likelihood of presence in AI training data. And this is the first time I've kind of seen this very specific ranking signal analysis of training data. Not so much, we've been focusing a lot on correlation between, okay, you're ranking well in Google, what's the correlation of that? And then the correlation, the correlation of that and your search visibility in AI. And I think that correlation stems from this. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. Instead of just looking at a correlation, we're actually getting into causation here, which I think is really, really cool, really interesting. And not only that, but they released a free tool called WebGraph here, mittehan.ai, where you can actually go in and check your site and look at the Harmonic Centrality, so that's the HC rank, measures how close a domain is to all other domains in the web graph, and then the page rank as well. And then you can start, looking for signals, or, you could maybe do like a causal impact study where you look at, well, we've changed our HC rank over 3 years. This is our search visibility. So now we're getting into the nitty gritty of training data. So to speak, there's a lot more training data than just this database, of course, but I feel like this is getting closer to something that's interesting, and it's a cool tool as well. So have a look at it. So those are the two first ones here. Then Similarweb has released a report on the fastest growing online companies 2024 to 2025. Again, why should we look at that? One of the things that stood out is some of them were actually no indexed, so that was interesting. ChatGPT, I think, is in the top there. As an SEO, why I think it's interesting to look at this is because, well, if they're growing fast, of course, one of the takeaways were it's not only SEO that is their main channel. They've diversified, which is what you should be doing. Healthy diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But looking at the fastest growing companies, you can start to reverse engineer the strategies, learn from it, and that's why I like to look at these. So I think it's a great report that we should all be having in the back of our minds. Head of WordPress AI team explains SEO for AI agents. Now this one, James LePage, which is actually really a funny name considering if you work in with anything online or SEO, but yeah. Anyway, the takeaways here are pretty closely related to SEO, like general SEO. I like this one here where it says AI SEO is largely long tail optimization. I think that makes sense, especially when we get into these query fan outs, etc. But then he talks about schema, semantic markup, organize content intentionally, provide ranking authority signals. Like a lot of this is just classic SEO, I think, / making your content better for humans. So again, it's not necessarily all that. I think, again, with most of these, like how to do GEO and AEO guides, and there's another one coming further down, and I've actually excluded one because it was behind a paywall. So these are pretty popular things to publish. I like to gather them all and then kind of do like gather all the insights, together. So again, great. Just follow the like and subscribe, and you don't need to do that work. But what's interesting with these kind of guides is it feels like it's still 90% SEO, and then you add a little bit of extra, like either some technical things or a few extra things that AIs or LLMs really like comes to retrieving. But overall, it's still 90% SEO. So nice to get that confirmed over and over again. Remember Google, they're in a monopoly case, I think the DOJ in the US, because of a search monopoly. So they've kind of put them to court, and they are appealing the search monopoly ruling. Again, gets pretty intense here, but one of the things that I really thought was interesting is, so they're arguing against the court-ordered remedies that would force disclosure and syndication of search data. Okay, what I think makes sense is Google is saying this could enable reverse engineering by spammers and bad actors. And also, of course, give competitors an unfair advantage. Well, you right now have the unfair advantage. So giving everyone that advantage makes it fair. I don't agree with that. What I do agree with is the reverse engineering by spammers. Like, I'm a white hat SEO, but there's so many out there that are not. And yeah, just leaving that data open could be pretty, I think that's a good reason. So again, how do we really do this? Controlling it is going to be harder. Next up, we have the myth that search is dying or SEO is dying is being debunked. And I think it's the best debunking so far. It really takes into account a lot of stats and different angles. So I'm not going to go into detail to this just to keep this video short for you people watching. But this is probably the best debunking of SEO is dead. So go have a look at that. Anyone asks within your organization, show them this. I think it's a great article on graphite.io. Google also released how do I explain this? A way to extract user intent with using small models, what they call decomposition as well, which is a set of steps. Again, I'm bastardizing this really. But their goal here is to use smaller models that are energy efficient, faster, to extract user intent based on your user interface interaction, is what I'm understanding from this. So UI interaction trajectories. So this is almost live at this point. Like, it's really, really interesting. And again, that goes back to how much data do they actually have here? We can see there's a few screenshots on this. How much data do they have to play with in order to make this work is so interesting. But it's a pretty hardcore paper here, but very interesting in terms of where they're trying to go. Again, back to intent, which is what the search engine should be doing. So I like that. I think that's good that if they can do this correctly. Next up, there's a great report here on local SEO trends, strategies, and easy wins. I don't do a lot of local SEO, but I've shared it with a few colleagues and friends who I know have local shops. They say these are really great strategies. Again, we talked last week about how AI mode on local search packs is kind of ruining Google My Business listing clicks, phone calls. They're dropping by up to 50%. Not great, Google. So let's be very smart, more tactical now that we're losing some of this. Again, people who want to find something will find it. Like, if you want to buy something in a local shop, you will. But again, it's just the matter. Like, where do we then drive people if AI mode is taking away some GMB clicks? If you're investing in SEO, you're on the right track with GEO, with Lily Ray. Again, great follow. Lily Ray is one of the best in the biz. And her point of view in terms of GEO is correct. And I've been saying this to people, anyone asking, I'm currently looking for a job. So GEO, AEO is the question that everyone asks. And if you've invested in healthy, white hat, long-term SEO for the last 10 years, you're reaping the benefits in AI. If you continue to do so, you will also reap the benefits. So this is very much holistic. I hate the word, but working on classic SEO with, of course, in mind, you have LLMs. There are some quick wins. Some of them are spammy, some of them are not. There's some technical things on top of what classic SEO used to be in order to be visible in AI. But beyond that, it's not very different. And again, I think we can kind of work that way. We can kind of backtrack that all the way up to our common web graph data and the AI ranking signals study here / article. Because these are things we would look at in terms of, well, Google is looking at it like PageRank, all these types of signals. And now we can use them as AI ranking signals as well. So, I mean, if you've been working on healthy digital PR, that's an AI ranking signal. You should be doing great. So again, we're back to basic SEO again. So I completely agree with this. It's great to keep getting this confirmed by people in the industry. More sites are apparently blocking LLM crawling, and that could backfire. All right, so Hostinger analyzed a lot of bot interactions, a billion, and across 5 million sites, which is just huge. And apparently they're seeing a lot of these, the coverage, first of all, is being dropped, but a lot of websites are also still blocking some of these bots. So again, don't worry about the other websites, but if you have a website and you don't want to be invisible in AI tools, here's where you go in and start checking, can these bots access your website, talk to your web developers or your agency running it. It's very important if you want. And you might have a reason to block ChatGPT from accessing your site. And again, they've got many bots. They've got like a live bot checker for web searches, checking URLs live, and then they've got the training model bots. So depending on what you want to block, just be careful and have that discussion. That's really what this suggests, right? And a lot of people, I feel like, might not have been having this discussion. This is what I can get away from this. Great. Another guide to generative AI and SEO. So again, GEO, generative SEO. Again, there's so many acronyms. I like to call it just AI visibility. That kind of explains it a little bit better. But again, we've got Gianluca Fiorelli, one of the best as well in the industry, and he's just got a really good guide here. I think it feels like one of the best ones I've seen so far. Again, he's not arguing that there's SEO and AEO. He's probably arguing the same, where we've got 80-90% classic SEO, but what's on top of that? Well, he's doing a great rundown of that. So I put this into a must read, to be honest. Then we've got Mary Haynes has released a new trending campaigns newsletter. So really, if you want to receive some really effective PR campaigns and coverage opportunities, here's a great, I think this is a great idea. And again, ties in well to, doing link building, but I call it digital PR, because we don't want to just do link building. We want mentions, we want to be seen, we want to do it in a healthy way, and I think this is one of the tools that could really help do that. So sign up for that if you're running PR campaigns or digital PR. And then Mary Haynes comes out with something that I found super interesting as well. What if user satisfaction is the most important factor in SEO? And again, she's going to convince you, and she's very good at that, and she's backing all this up. And I agree with this take, but mainly because if users are not satisfied with the results Google is delivering, they will slowly move away to something else. Now, is AI mode doing a great job of that? Is AI overviews doing a great job of that? If it doesn't do that over time and Google can see it, they will dial it down, I think, because at the end of the day, they need their users to be satisfied and keep using and trusting Google, so they can also trust those idiotic ads that are like this big in the SERPs. So I 100% agree that this is, and they have access to so many user signals and just the pogo staking, all these classic things we've been talking about for years. I think all of that adds up to Google being quite well aware if a user is satisfied or not. So when making content, like for example, Google has stated that it's not a ranking factor to have one of those what do you call it, content, in the beginning of a guide, you have a content like plan, and you can click and go straight to a section of the article. Well, what are they called? Doesn't matter, you understand me. I forgot the name. That was not a ranking factor according to Google, but if people find exactly what they are looking for, and then maybe navigate further to the website and are satisfied, or maybe going back, finding your answer, and then going back quickly is a satisfaction signal as well. But if they do that and interact with the site, that might show Google they're satisfied and they have reached the intent fast by that little thing. And so that makes the web page rank higher. So it's not necessarily that that specific feature is a ranking signal by itself, but that the signals it then creates are the ranking factor. So making something useful for a user, it shouldn't be, oh, well, will it rank? Is it a ranking signal? But more likely, if it's good for a user, just do it. You want your users to be satisfied as well, right? Just as much as Google. So that's some of the things that's a lot of those discussions are happening when we prioritize tickets. And a lot of that is education with clients, is saying, well, we should also focus on users, and here is why. And this is one of the articles that will help us convince them even more. So thank you, Marie. 45 best subreddits for marketing and SEO professionals. I'll leave it at that. pretty good list there. I'm not that much on Reddit, and I shared one of these videos that I'm posting here on YouTube, and they banned me, one of the big SEO subreddits. So they really don't want you to share links. Um, Actually, Reddit's spam team is one of the best ones, I think. So they are really, you really have to be careful there. So go in and just kind of talk, have discussions. And then finally, this one is just minor news, but pretty interesting. So Shopify is to charge 4% more for merchants when checkout is through ChatGPT. And people are arguing that, why, first of all, why would you do that when you could just go straight to the merchant? So again, if they're charging the merchant 4% more, will they charge the user 4% more? And if that's the case, why not just go straight to the site? And if people are aware of this, that's just not great for ChatGPT, honestly, to be honest. I don't know why they're doing this, but maybe they have to finance the whole, protocol and the setup through ChatGPT, although I don't think that's very complicated. So, but very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going. Plus, last week we talked about ChatGPT want to try ads slowly, and they want really like a high investment from the get-go, and they're selling page views, not clicks, which is weird coming from a platform people love because it has no ads and famously sends less traffic to websites, and they want to pay per page view. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that was the news for week 4. Please like and subscribe, comment, and I guess I'll see you everyone next week, where I do the same summary of all the cool stuff that's been happening in our industry, which is moving so fast. I have to do these weekly now. So have a lovely day and enjoy your life.